This is your moment. You didn't stumble on this by accident. You were guided here. Something in your spirit called out, and the universe answered. You've been feeling the shift, like something's building, like you're standing on the edge of something bigger than anything you've known. That's not your imagination. That's divine alignment. Right now, the timing is perfect. The message is precise. And the energy moving through this moment, it's not random. It's for you. You've been climbing through delays, detours, and doubt, thinking you were being held back. But the truth is, you were being positioned. This is more than a message. This is confirmation. Your awakening has already begun, and everything that once felt like resistance was actually refining your power. You're not just here to survive. You're here to ignite something unstoppable. So take a breath, lock in, and feel this in your bones. You are seen, you are chosen, and everything that comes next is about to prove why. Let's go. They honor the version of you that chose light over bitterness, that refused to let hardship rewrite your essence. What echoes beyond this moment isn't what you've gained, but who you've become in the becoming. On a plane beyond language, there is a celebration, because you've done what many feared was impossible. You ended what was never yours to carry. This is more than encouragement. This is prophecy in motion. Let's unpack it. Before we tap into this deeper current, pause. Share this with someone who feels it too. This isn't a broadcast. It's a confirmation, a frequency check. If something stirs inside you right now, type 55 in the comments. That number isn't coincidence, it's resonance. It lets the higher realms know, I've awakened to my assignment. I am in rhythm now. I'm tuned into the inheritance that was coded into my soul before I even arrived here. Many will hear the message, but few will truly listen. Only the aligned will decode the keys hidden in these words. This is ceremony disguised as speech, a sacred remembering disguised as motivation. There's a vibration rippling through your lineage. It intensifies with every step you take in truth. And this knowing, it compounds. Every time this message reaches your ears, more of your spiritual blueprint unlocks. Let yourself revisit it. There's wisdom between the lines, only revealed to those who are ready. You are the closing verse to an ancient prayer they never saw answered. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. They held dreams like embers in a storm, never allowed the windbreak they needed. They envisioned but couldn't execute. They ached for peace they never tasted. Their lives bent toward survival, where healing was fantasy and self-expression a luxury. They tucked their hopes into silence and left behind maps they never saw unfold. They didn't lack intention. They lacked liberation. They didn't lack direction. They lacked the space to move freely. And yet they kept going, seeding futures they never lived to witness. And now, you are the unfolding. You are what grows from their resilience, their quiet strength, their unseen prayers. You are the answer to the questions they whispered, but never dared say aloud. The one whose feet stand on ground they only saw in visions. You step into places that denied them entry. You carry the flame, not to repeat history, but to end it. You are the reset, the break in the cycle, the the rise they never got to be. You don't just outlast the storm. You become the force that shifts the atmosphere within it. Where others hide, you confront. Where others repeat, you release. You are not merely surviving, you are rewriting the contract of your lineage in real time. You are the evidence of redemption, walking in human form. And in healing yourself, you become the alchemy for generations behind you. You stitch together what was torn. You sing the songs they swallowed. Every step forward is witnessed by those who never got the chance to take it. And they dance in the unseen. Every time you choose honor over ease, courage over comfort, depth over distraction. You are never walking alone. Every time you rise, you become the continuation of a legacy that refused to be erased. You weren't born to start the fire. You were born to carry it forward, to give it shape, to make it visible. Those who came before laid the first stones with trembling hands. And now through you, the foundation becomes a fortress. You were born to finish what began as a whisper in brokenness, and now echoes as thunder through your steps. This is why your journey feels so heavy at times, because you're not just walking for yourself. You're carrying the unspoken hopes, the unseen scars, the unheard cries of generations. But along with their wounds, you also inherited their resilience, their ancient clarity, and the spiritual force of realms cheering your name as you shatter every limitation. What was once a distant promise becomes tangible through your actions. So move with fire in your lungs, truth in your voice, and purpose in your stride. You're not just one person trying to find a way forward. You are a portal, a passage through which justice, joy, and legacy are restored. And this is still only the opening page. They tried to silence you because they feared what lived inside. The trials weren't arbitrary. The pain, the cold shoulders, the sudden betrayals, they had intention. From the moment your essence entered this world, your light disrupted everything false. You're not a threat because you're weak. You're a threat because your presence exposes shadows. You carry something sacred, and they saw it before you did. They used confusion as their weapon. They used trauma to warp your reflection. They tried to rewrite your identity through the lens of pain. But while you forgot for a moment, the higher planes never did. The ancestors never stopped knowing who you are, even when the world tried to rename you. You haven't been cast aside. You've been redirected, not as punishment, but as preparation. You weren't overlooked. You were preserved. You weren't erased. You were encoded with a mission too unique for ordinary roads. What you carry isn't just talent, it's a sacred function. And because of that, your life could never follow a common blueprint. Blending in was never your blueprint. That's why shallow connections never held, and comfort always came with resistance. You weren't made for consensus. You were made to carve new pathways with feet that refuse to follow the crowd. Your difference isn't flaw, it's signature. And now, the detours and departures make perfect sense. Even the exits of others were alignment in disguise. The pauses and the pain weren't detours. They were sharpening tools. Every heartbreak, a recalibration. Every setback, a setup for revelation. Your spirit was being reinforced for missions others wouldn't have survived. You were fortified in silence so your emergence would not be denied. The same pain they used to try and shatter you became the mold that shaped your arrival. Your sensitivity isn't a burden, it's your arsenal. You weren't given deep waters for shallow battles. You were made to move through realms others avoid. That's why the friction feels greater. That's why your lessons run deeper. Because your calling demanded a higher level of refinement. And here's the truth wrapped in light. Every attempt to break you is actually a sign of your assignment. Every loss carved room for expansion. Every closed path was rerouting you towards something far more aligned. You're walking evidence that what was built to undo you is now the very proof of your authority. You did what many could not. You remembered your origin. You reclaimed your essence. And now, in unseen dimensions, your lineage dances, because you turned pain into power, silence into voice, and inheritance into action. There's a power rising in you that no pain could cancel. You chose to stand where others collapsed. You chose clarity when chaos was more convenient. They tried to silence your soul because they knew what it held. But what was placed inside you came from a realm no hand can reach. And now that you've reclaimed your identity, no force can stall your movement. Keep pressing forward. You're not walking this road by coincidence. You've been activated, and each step you take is supported by forces seen and unseen. Begins with this truth. You're not just healing, you're clearing ancient weight. You feel storms that weren't born in your own sky. You cry for memories you don't even recall. You sense sorrow that doesn't begin with you. That's because the heaviness wasn't forged in your lifetime. It's ancestral. It was shaped in silence, passed down through rituals of survival, wrapped in the disguises of pride and pretense. You inherited not just stories, but responsibilities. You're the one who could see the loops for what they were. Cycles of hurt, repeating behind polite smiles and unspoken grief. You refused to let the silence continue. You decided to look truth in the face, even when it wore the faces of people you loved. Where others numbed, you named. Where others escaped, you engaged. You chose restoration instead of revenge, awareness instead of avoidance, courage instead of control. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles. Feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. Your bravery unraveled contracts made long before you were born, agreements of pain, patterns of denial, oaths to stay silent. You didn't just choose healing, you chose liberation. The moment you faced what others hid, generations began to breathe again. You became the sound that broke centuries of stillness. The impact echoes through time. Your decision to heal sends vibrations forward and backward. Light floods places that lived too long in shadows. Those who came before, those who never got the chance to be whole. They witness your rise. They recognize you. They honor you with every tear you shed in truth. You're the one who didn't flinch, who faced every echo, every scar, every sharp truth that lived just beneath the surface. You didn't run, you rooted yourself. And because of that, everything around you is shifting. What once lived in the dark, now transforms under your gaze. You're not just healing your timeline, you're bridging generations. Your voice rewrites the script. Your presence restores balance. The burdens they carried alone now find completion through your courage. You are the one who said, "Enough." And the moment you did, the legacy began to change. It wasn't fair. It never was. But you were born with the capacity to carry what they could not. You were gifted with the insight to recognize the unspoken, the strength to confront it, and the heart to transform it. Each emotion you release untangles another thread in the tapestry of your history. You turn distance into closure. You turn trauma into testimony. You turned patterns into power. And now, healing is no longer an impossible dream for your lineage. It's a present reality. You've rewritten the song your family sings. You've restored what time tried to erase. You weren't just chosen. You were equipped to restore everything sacred that had been lost. And because of you, peace finally has a place to rest. Every time you refuse to fold, you reveal what you're truly made of. You've taken what was designed to destroy you and shaped it into something sacred. What once looked like defeat now fuels your rise. What once stung like abandonment has become your place of stillness, your grounding force when life gets loud. You didn't just survive, you evolved. No moment was wasted. Every ache carried its own code. Every quiet breakdown became a piece of your blueprint. You've become the architect of transformation, turning inherited heaviness into elevation. The weight that once drowned your lineage becomes the wings that carry you forward. Sorrow didn't break you. It built the muscle of your spirit. There's nothing ordinary about your process. You've turned struggle into sacred structure. This isn't just inner work. It's a multi-dimensional reprogramming. You are the living proof of what happens when purpose partners with pressure. Your path was carved in stone, but you didn't stop there. You sculpted it into a monument. You rose where others collapsed. You moved when grief tried to anchor you. You rewrote your own myth, one experience at a time. And every chapter has your fingerprints on it, written not in fear, but in fierce knowing. Your life is not a rerun of old stories. It's an origin point for something new, something never seen before. You altered the course of your entire line. The echo of your breakthroughs stretches beyond your years. You've broken codes that ran undisturbed for lifetimes. What once held generations hostage now dissolves in your presence. The frequency of your freedom rewires history. They chant your name where the eye cannot see. They don't celebrate you for escaping. They celebrate you for returning with the keys. Your growth is not random. It's the eruption of dormant power, long buried but never lost. You carry the rare vibration of someone who turned wounds into windows of light. The strength you embody isn't loud, it's seismic. You carry names no one spoke aloud. You hold memories passed through feeling, not words. You walk with a torch that was lit in another time, passed from trembling hands to yours. And now you blaze through darkness others still fear to enter. Each time you step outside your comfort, you recalibrate your inner code. You correct patterns etched into your DNA by pain. Your very breath is a balm to the future. Your resolve is a bridge for those not yet born. You are living proof that healing doesn't just restore, it recreates. There are eyes on you from realms unseen, and their silence is not absence, it's awe. You are walking in your inheritance, protected by forces designed to carry you to completion. Don't slow down. What awaits you has never been done before. When you enter a space, time bends around your presence. You bring with you unspoken dreams, unresolved grief, and unfinished missions. You represent more than your own story. You represent redemption for all those who didn't make it. Your journey is carved with purpose, painted in endurance, and sealed with divine intention. Keep going. You're not just changing your life, you're changing everything. There are roles written into time that only a few are asked to carry, and you carry one of them. Not because you volunteered for ease, but because your spirit was crafted for impact. The weight doesn't come from weakness. It comes from the magnitude of what moves through you. Some days feel too dense to rise. Some mornings, too quiet to feel seen. But the unseen battles you've already conquered speak volumes, even when no one else hears them. This path was etched for those who were always meant to do more than survive. You're the one who stands where ground used to give way. You don't move with noise, you move with precision. This is the walk of one who understands that power doesn't require an audience to be real. You hold a force that moves mountains in silence. You are the breath of generations who didn't get the chance to exhale. Those whose stories were cut short, whose voices were buried in dust. Their grit lives in your bones. Their resilience pulses in your choices. When your strength begins to fade, it's their energy that steadies your spine. You are not just walking for yourself. You are what they hoped could exist. There's a sacred reverence in the way you carry yourself. You don't lead with show, but with essence. You don't chase validation. You radiate truth. What lives in you can't be replicated because it's rooted in authenticity. You choose peace where ego would posture. You choose intention where performance would distract. And that is your true distinction. You rise not to prove anything, but to honor everything. You stand as a testament to those who endured quietly. You transform trials into maps for the future. Legacy is not just memory, it's motion. It's what you build in real time. Every choice you make sends signals into futures you will never see, shaping possibilities for those still waiting for their moment. Each time you step forward, you carve open a path that didn't exist before. And though that responsibility may feel like too much some days, it is also the greatest confirmation that you are the one destined to bear it. You are given this light to magnify it, not to dim it. Your movement is not random. It's choreography written between the timelines, part past, part prophecy. You were always meant to transcend the wound, to be the evidence that healing is more than a concept, to be the new sound where silence once lived. And while the walk is steep, you are not walking alone. Forces beyond this dimension celebrate every step you take. Your rise is their reward. Your voice becomes their victory. This isn't just your journey, it's a continuation of a vision older than memory. You are a frequency, a ripple, a revival in motion. The mission you carry is larger than personal achievement. You are a living shift, a break in generational stagnation. Every inch you gain echoes into eternity. You're not just a soul with a goal. You're a wave meant to crash through every wall that ever told your lineage no. What you do with your life is felt in the marrow of those not yet born. This calling you carry has no ceiling. It touches centuries. And with every brave act, you open a portal of possibility. What you build now becomes the framework of freedom for others. And no obstacle, no curse, no opposition, no betrayal can override the alignment you've claimed. Your consistency creates a rhythm the universe responds to. Each act of trust, each decision to stay rooted becomes a key, a code, a sacred unlocking. Because of your persistence, doors that once stayed locked are now dismantled. Barriers collapse, limits evaporate, not just for you, but for every soul tethered to your legacy. And what you receive, it doesn't stop with your name. It flows forward, into future names, into futures not yet spoken. The blessings you anchor today are not solitary. They are ancestral and exponential. They grow roots beneath generations. They blossom in places where nothing ever bloomed. And all of this? It started the moment you chose to keep showing up. Not because it was easy, but because your bloodline needed you to be the one who didn't back down. This is the power of alignment. It shouts louder than any spoken curse. It dissolves fear at its core. You wear protection not made by man, but by legacy and light. And every act of obedience to your calling, no matter how small, becomes the thread that holds the future together. Keep going. You're not building a moment. You're building a lineage. You've reached the threshold that few ever touch, where unseen locks begin to click open, where spiritual resistance breaks under the weight of divine alignment. This is not random. This is a release that was always yours, waiting for the moment your soul remembered its authority. What once lived buried in silence now erupts in freedom, because you chose to carry what others could not. There is no residue of what once bound your lineage that can withstand this light. The tide has turned completely. Wounds passed down like invisible inheritance now meet healing so deep it reshapes history. This isn't just grace, it's divine restoration in action. Every shattered place in your bloodline now touched by power, purpose, and a future previously unimaginable. This outpour didn't fall from the sky by chance. It flowed from the fire you walked through without quitting. Your decisions when no one was watching. Your faith when nothing made sense. Your courage to keep going when everything told you to quit. That's what summoned this transformation. You've become the guardian of what's possible, the one who stops old patterns in their tracks. Where doors were once sealed shut for generations, your presence alone is now the key. Every step you take opens a passage that was hidden until now, and those who come after you will walk freely because of it. Every silent yes you spoke in your soul ripples forward, undoing barriers that were once written in stone. This favor was never meant for you alone. It's a current now flowing through your veins, restoring the roots of your family tree, feeding both past and future. The impact of your alignment moves like thunder across timelines. Ancestors exhale, descendants rise. What was delayed for decades is now delivered in full. You've disrupted what held your lineage hostage. Patterns fractured, cycles demolished. Every whisper of limitation erased by the roar of your faith. The voice that once spoke curses over your name, now silenced by the sound of fulfillment echoing through the heavens. You carry legacy, but you also carry power. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles, feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. And that power is unstoppable. It's laced into the fibers of your being and now passed down like sacred armor. What you walk in isn't just personal, it's generational security. You're no longer moving for your own breakthrough. You're moving with an inheritance too big to measure, too divine to contain. So stay grounded, stay aligned. There's still more unfolding. Your walk is not small, it's seismic. Your endurance is rewriting timelines. You're the blueprint for those coming behind you, the example of what happens when truth meets action. None of this is accidental. It's prophetic motion. Everything you've done in secret, every moment you stayed loyal to your assignment, became the force that pushed open gates locked for centuries. You've turned obedience into an access point, a channel of blessing, now pouring into lives you've never met. Your spiritual imprint is permanent. This shift is only the beginning. The momentum you feel now isn't the end of the road. It's the launch pad. The threshold you stand on isn't a finish line. It's a sacred invitation to more. Chosen one, understand this with your entire being. What is coming through you will outlive you. And because of your yes, the future just changed forever. You carry the blueprint of transformation, the living pulse of a destiny too vast to fit into old frames. This moment is not an ending. It's the platform from which everything begins to expand. The ground beneath you isn't just solid, it's sacred, molded by lifetimes of preparation. What once felt like fragments now form the cornerstone of a life forged by truth, aligned by purpose. You're stepping into spaces stitched together by ancestral dreams.